Welcome, curious minds, to the deep dive. Today, we're plunging headfirst into a text that has fascinated, confounded, and, let's be honest, sometimes deeply unsettled humanity for centuries. The Book of Revelation. Just hearing those words often conjures up images of profound mystery, maybe fire-breathing dragons, definitely cataclysmic events, and those ever-so-cryptic numbers. It's a daunting landscape to navigate, no doubt.
Indeed, it's a book often misunderstood, I think. Viewed predominantly through a lens of literal predictions and end-time scenarios, people tend to focus on the sensational, often missing the profound underlying messages.
And that's exactly what we're here to change for you today. Our mission is to go beyond that initial, often superficial perception. This isn't just about trying to guess the future or, decode some kind of doomsday calendar.
Right.
Instead, we're going to explore Revelation as a truly rich tapestry, one that weaves together deep insights into human nature, morality, and our universal, enduring quest for meaning.
And this deep dive draws from extensive sources today, including the comprehensive Revelation.pdf and the insightful Veils of Prophecy, among others. Our goal really is to cut through the complexity, unveil the most important nuggets of knowledge and insight,
Yeah.
helping you understand why this ancient text continues to resonate so powerfully in our modern world, offering both stark warnings and actually profound, enduring hope.
So what can you expect? Get ready, because we're going to unpack its core themes,
Yeah.
try to decipher its powerful and often unsettling symbols, explore the very different scholarly lenses used for interpretation, and most importantly, connect its timeless messages to the global events and personal challenges we face right now. Prepare yourself for some genuine aha moments that will hopefully leave you well-informed and, perhaps, with a surprisingly fresh perspective. Let's get started.
Let's do it.
I
A
got it.
core of Revelation, beyond the apocalypse.
Okay, so you mentioned going beyond that initial perception, the fire-breathing dragons, strange prophecies. What is the core insight we should take away first, beyond all that apocalyptic imagery? What is Revelation truly about?
Well, at its heart, I think Revelation offers a really profound understanding of human nature and morality. While the vivid imagery is striking, you can't deny that.
Right.
Its essence isn't really found in literal predictions. Instead, these descriptions of beasts, dragons, cataclysmic events, they should probably serve as powerful metaphors or symbols.
Metaphors. Okay.
Yeah, conveying deeper meanings about human behavior, societal failings, that sort of thing, rather than as literal descriptions of future creatures or events.
That's a crucial distinction.
Yeah.
So a fire-breathing dragon isn't necessarily like a literal dragon swooping down.
Probably not, no.
What's the right way to approach these intense descriptions? What are they really trying to get at?
Precisely. Think about it this way.
Mhm.
To someone living in, say, the 3rd or 4th century, witnessing something like a modern intercontinental ballistic missile
Wow.
ascending through the clouds, leaving this fiery trail, causing immense destruction. While that might very well have been described as a fire-breathing dragon taking flight, it's terrifying, awe-inspiring, embodies immense destructive power.
Okay, I see that.
So this perspective shifts the focus from a literal interpretation of the image itself to the destructive capabilities of human innovation, technology, warfare. The symbols are less about what they literally depict and more about the effect and the power being symbolized.
The impact.
The impact, exactly,
Right.
which is often human-caused chaos and moral degradation.
That makes so much sense. It's like the author was tapping into these universal fears and potentials, even if the specific manifestations were, well, unimaginable back then. This raises an intriguing duality, doesn't it? Was the author divinely inspired with visions of the future, or just incredibly perceptive? Perceptive enough to grasp humanity's darker potentials, our capacity for self-destruction, even millennia in advance?
Right.
This question, to me, feels central to understanding Revelation's enduring power. Right.
It truly is, and it's a question scholars, continue to grapple with across centuries, whether one believes it to be divine insight or remarkable human astuteness.
Yeah.
The text serves as a profound commentary on humanity's capacity for hubris, for moral failure, but also, importantly, its potential for redemption. It challenges us, really, to confront the unsettling truths embedded within these visions, rather than just dismissing them as, mere fantasy or something weird. It asks us to look inward at what these symbols represent about us.
That's a powerful invitation for self-reflection. So moving from that deep dive into human nature, what are the key thematic pillars holding Revelation together? Because amidst all that intense imagery, there's actually a surprisingly strong thread of hope, isn't there?
Yes, hope is absolutely primary,
Huh.
especially for its original audience. You have to remember, Revelation was written to early Christians facing intense persecution under Roman rule, probably in the first century CE.
Right, a tough time.
A very tough time. So its primary purpose was likely to provide them with hope and reassurance. Reassurance of God's ultimate control and eventual victory. It's a powerful response to their immediate, often life-threatening challenges.
Like a lifeline.
Exactly. This message was a lifeline, assuring them that their suffering wasn't in vain and that a greater divine plan was unfolding.
And it really lays out a vivid vision of what that ultimate victory looks like, often through the promise of a new heaven and new earth.
Exactly. Revelation 21, verses 1 to 3 describes this vividly. Then I saw a new heaven and new earth, and I heard a loud voice from the throne saying, "Look, God's dwelling place is now among the people. They will be his people, and God himself will be with them."
Powerful word.
It signifies ultimate restoration, peace, where God personally dwells among humanity, fulfilling promises of renewal, reconciliation. And then there's the imagery of the water of life, freely offered, which emphasizes spiritual nourishment, eternal life, underscoring the transformative power of divine grace, even when facing immense suffering. It's a profound vision of ultimate peace and fulfillment.
But it's not all comfort and reassurance. I also remember passages that are quite stark, even terrifying.
hmm
How does Revelation balance that powerful message of reassurance with, shall we say, a more serious warning? There's also a significant element of divine judgment, accountability, right?
It absolutely does. Revelation serves as a significant warning. It emphasizes that God will hold all people accountable for their actions.
Okay.
The vivid depictions of apocalyptic events, including the four horsemen in Revelation 6, they underscore the seriousness of this judgment. Each horseman representing conquest, war, famine, death, highlights the pervasive consequences of sin, human affliction, the choices nations make.
Right, those horsemen.
And then you have the powerful imagery of the great white throne judgment in Revelation 20, where the dead stand before God to face their deeds. This reinforces the idea that choices made in this life have profound eternal consequences.
So it's a motivator.
It serves as a powerful motivator for moral and ethical behavior, encouraging individual societies to reflect deeply on their actions and values.
So it's a wake-up call, but ultimately
Yeah.
also a promise of final justice.
Mm.
And that ties into the third thematic pillar you mentioned, the ultimate triumph of good over evil.
Fundamentally, yes. The entire narrative really culminates in the ultimate victory of good over evil. Revelation 19 depicts Christ's return as a conquering king, asserting his authority and power over all earthly opposition.
Mm-hmm.
And the lamb metaphor, symbolizing Jesus Christ, is critical here.
Right.
He's portrayed as slain yet victorious,
Slain yet victorious.
highlighting his sacrificial role and contrasting sharply with the tyranny of the beast in Revelation 13. This theological significance inspires believers to commit themselves to lives of service, humility, reflecting Christ's character and teachings, even as they anticipate his ultimate return and the establishment of true justice.
The message is clear then.
Yeah, the message is clear. Suffering and evil do not have the final say.
That's a powerful framework.
Mm-hmm.
How do these ancient themes, hope, judgment, triumph, connect to our world today? Are they still touchstones for us, or do they feel, I don't know, like relics of a bygone era?
Oh, they're absolutely still touchstones. In an age marked by turmoil, conflict, rapid change, these messages continue to offer profound reassurance amidst uncertainty. They signal that faithfulness in the face of adversity is not in vain.
Right.
For many, Revelation provides a crucial framework for interpreting current global events, allowing communities of faith to engage with social and moral issues through the lens of their beliefs. It challenges modern Christians, and really anyone grappling with societal challenges, to remain vigilant, prompting deep reflection on morality and accountability as societal norms shift and new ethical dilemmas arise. The insights it offers into the cycles of power, corruption, and the yearning for justice remain remarkably resonant. 2. Unveiling symbolism, a deeper look at Revelation's imagery.
It's remarkable how those core themes resonate even today, and much of that power comes directly from the unforgettable imagery Revelation is packed with. So let's unlock some of those most iconic symbols, starting with the two titans of Revelation, the Lamb and the Beast. Tell us about the Lamb first.
The lamb is indeed a central and deeply significant figure, symbolizing Jesus Christ. It's often depicted as a lamb standing as though it had been slain. That's from Revelation 5.6. Yet it is also victorious and worthy of all praise.
Okay.
This powerful imagery transcends simple animal sacrifice. It represents sacrifice, redemption, and Christ's ultimate triumph over sin and death through seemingly meek means.
Meek means. Interesting.
Yeah, it offers believers profound reassurance of good's ultimate victory, not through brute force, but through sacrificial love and humility. The real aha here, I think, is that the ultimate victor isn't a conquering warrior in the typical sense, but a sacrificial lamb, a profound inversion of earthly power dynamic.
And then there's the beast, which sounds like the complete opposite of that humble lamb.
It is, in every conceivable way. The beast is the antithesis to the lamb, embodying forces of evil in profound opposition to God. Revelation actually describes two beasts.
Do.
Yes, one rising from the sea, typically interpreted as representing oppressive political power, and another from the earth, symbolizing false religion or deceptive spiritual authority that supports the first beast.
Ah, okay. So political and religious corruption working together.
Exactly. This duality illustrates how evil can manifest through both secular and spiritual corruption, intertwining to exert control.
And the infamous number associated with the beast, 6666. Everyone knows that one. It's almost a pop culture reference now.
Yes, 666 has generated immense discussion and, frankly, a lot of speculation throughout history. What's key here is that it symbolizes a profound deficiency, a stark incompleteness.
Incompleteness. How so?
Well, it's deliberately one short of 7, and 7 is the number of divine perfection and completeness throughout Revelation and much of biblical literature.
Ah, right. 7 days of creation, etc.
Precisely. So the real aha isn't just the number itself, but the profound theological insight it offers. Anything that claims divine authority or absolute power, while inherently falling short of divine perfection, represented by 7, is fundamentally fraudulent and tyrannical. It's a cosmic lie, a powerful warning against any earthly power that demands absolute allegiance, revealing its inherent brokenness and ultimately its doomed nature.
So how have scholars interpreted the beast historically, and what about its relevance today? Because I imagine that interpretation shifts dramatically over time.
It absolutely does. In Revelation's first century context, the beast described in Revelation 13 is widely interpreted as Roman imperial power and its oppressive systems.
Rome. Okay.
And the number 666 is often thought to refer to Emperor Nero, a notorious persecutor of Christians via Hebrew numerology, a system called gematria, where letters are assigned numerical values.
Gematria. Interesting.
Yeah, when applied to Nero Caesar in Hebrew, it remarkably adds up to 666. So for its original audience, this was a powerful and subversive critique.
Wow. Hidden in plain sight. Kind of.
Sort of, yeah. This links the beast to tyranny, injustice, the moral decay inherent in absolute power, particularly state-sponsored idolatry. Theologically, it symbolizes chaos, evil, deception, often arising from the sea, an image associated with primordial chaos in biblical literature challenging God's authority.
And its appearance.
Oh.
The heads and horns.
Right. Its attributes, like 7 heads representing a completeness of power and 10 horns signifying strength or might, suggest an amalgamation of earthly kingdoms opposing divine will.
That makes perfect sense for the original audience, giving them a coded way to critique their oppressors.
Yeah.
But then you mentioned contemporary resonance. How does this ancient symbol manifest in our modern world, particularly since its influence is described as over every tribe, people, language, and nation?
What's truly fascinating here is how that description from Revelation 13.7 resonates today. Modern interpretations draw parallels to a whole host of societal forces, totalitarian regimes, certainly, but also things like unchecked consumerism and corporate greed. More significantly, perhaps, a potent parallel is often drawn to technological surveillance systems and the pervasive influence of social media.
Ah, technology. Okay, tell me more.
Think about it. The rise of AI-powered surveillance tools like facial recognition, which can identify individuals in crowds, or predictive policing systems such as PredPol, used in places like the LAPD to forecast crime hotspots.
Right, I've heard of those.
Then there are extensive smart city initiatives in places like Singapore, which leverage technology to monitor and manage pretty much every aspect of urban life. These technologies, coupled with pervasive data collection by corporations and governments, well, they raise profound questions about the erosion of individual freedoms.
Like the Cambridge Analytica scandal.
Exactly. Remember the Cambridge Analytica scandal, where vast amounts of personal data were harvested and used to influence political campaigns? That's just one stark example of how deeply our data can be manipulated and used for control.
Here's where it gets really interesting. So, if the beast represents these powerful controlling systems, then how are modern scholars interpreting something like the mark of the beast? Is it still seen as a literal tattoo, or is something else being suggested that might be even more pervasive?
That's the key question. Many modern interpreters view the mark of the beast not necessarily as a literal physical mark, but as a symbolic commentary on complicity within these systems.
Complicity. How so?
It represents an allegiance, conscious or not, to the values and mechanisms of a corrupt world system. So it could be seen as succumbing to consumerism, letting it define you, or being inextricably integrated into technological surveillance networks, thus losing one's individuality or agency.
So less a stamp on the forehead, more about what system you buy into.
Pretty much, yeah. During the pandemic, there was even speculation by some, though it's important to note this diverges from scholarly consensus, that vaccines or digital health passes could be seen as a form of the mark, symbolizing a loss of autonomy to governmental or technological control.
Right, I remember hearing some of that.
The warnings in Revelation, therefore, encourage a critical examination of contemporary societal structures and their ethical implications. They urge vigilance against unchecked power and any form of complicity in unjust systems. But crucially, the beast's ultimate defeat in Revelation offers a powerful vision of hope,
Okay.
signifying the triumph of divine justice and inspiring resistance against modern forms of oppression.
Okay, that's a lot to chew on about the beast and its pervasive influence. Now let's talk about its partner in crime, so to speak.
Yeah.
The dragon. In Revelation, the dragon is explicitly tied to ultimate evil, isn't it? What's its distinct role?
Yes, in Revelation, the dragon explicitly represents Satan or the devil. It says so right in Revelation 12:9. And the great dragon was thrown down, that ancient serpent who is called the devil and Satan, the deceiver of the whole world.
Wow, very explicit.
Very. This characterization embodies ultimate evil, chaos, and deception in the cosmic struggle, distinguishing it sharply from, say, more benevolent or neutral portrayals of dragons you might find in some Eastern cultures or modern fantasy. This is the primordial source of spiritual opposition.
So it's not a treasure-hoarding Beowulf dragon. It's something far more sinister and insidious with a direct theological purpose.
Definitely.
And its relationship with the beast, how does that interplay work? What's the connection?
The profound symbolic and theological relationship is that the dragon, representing Satan, empowers the beast, which manifests as oppressive earthly power and systems.
Empowers it. How?
Imagine the dragon as the insidious strategist, maybe whispering dark ideas, corrupting hearts, fostering a culture of fear and control. This spiritual influence then manifests as the beast, the tangible, oppressive, earthly power, whether political or religious, that demands worship or allegiance.
So spirit behind the structure.
That's a good way to put it. It's the spirit of evil giving rise to the structure of evil, making it not just a single entity, but a pervasive systemic threat. The dragon's deception directly leads to the beast's demand for worship, highlighting the complexities of allegiance and resistance for believers. And the grotesque imagery of both figures, well, it enhances the dramatic tension and allegorical interpretations, aiding in the exploration of identity, power, morality.
Powerful stuff indeed. Let's move on to another iconic set of symbols, perhaps the most recognizable, the four horsemen of the apocalypse. Everyone knows them, but what do they truly represent in Revelation beyond just generic disaster?
Right, the four horsemen, detailed in Revelation 6, verses 1-8. They aren't just generic disasters, they are harbingers of specific calamities, symbolizing various afflictions humanity is expected to endure, maybe as part of divine judgment or just the unfolding of history.
Okay, let's break them down. The first one.
The first, on a white horse, is often interpreted as conquest, representing victorious military power, though some scholars view it as false messiahs or even the spread of the gospel, but often in a way that precedes conflict. It's a bit ambiguous.
Okay. Then the red horse. That one seems clear.
Yes, the second, on a fiery red horse, unambiguously embodies war and bloodshed. It reflects global conflicts, civil unrest, geopolitical tensions that shatter peace. Pretty straightforward, sadly.
Then the black horse.
The third, on a black horse, signifies famine and economic hardship. This points directly to food insecurity, widespread scarcity, severe economic disparities that create immense suffering, often depicted holding scales, representing unfair economic practices.
Scales, right. And the last one, the pale horse.
And finally, the fourth, on a pale horse, represents death and Hades following behind. This encompasses mortality from disease, devastating natural disasters, societal collapse. bringing an end to life on a mass scale, the culmination of the other three in a way.
These sound incredibly relevant to what we see in the news every single day. What was their historical context for those early Christians living under Roman rule?
Well, for early Christians, these images were highly resonant and terrifyingly real. They were literally facing intense persecution, frequent wars, recurrent famines under Roman rule.
So it was their reality.
Very much so. So the horsemen served as both a stark warning of what was, for them, an ongoing reality, and also a promise of divine justice that would ultimately address these sufferings. They encapsulated the trials and tribulations that were part of their lived experience, providing a theological framework to understand their suffering.
And how do these ancient symbols echo in our modern world? Can we draw parallels to contemporary struggles that truly make us see the ongoing relevance? Or is that stretching it?
Oh, absolutely. The parallels are striking. The symbolism of the horsemen resonates strongly today, providing a lens through which to understand our current global challenges.
Okay, like what?
Well, the white horse, representing conquest or maybe false peace, can be seen in the ongoing struggle for justice and the battle against pervasive misinformation and manipulative narratives that seek to dominate public discourse. The fight for truth itself. The red horse finds undeniable echoes in current geopolitical tensions and outright conflicts. The devastating war in Ukraine with its global ramifications, the persistent conflicts in the Middle East, simmering tensions in Eastern Europe, terrorist attacks, civil unrest. These are not distant prophecies, but daily realities for millions.
Tragic, and the black horse of famine.
Tragically visible in escalating global food insecurity and economic instability, often exacerbated by climate change, supply chain disruptions, pandemics. Organizations like the Global Network Against Food Crises report millions worldwide facing acute food shortages. That's a stark, direct connection to this prophetic vision of famine and economic despair.
And the pale horse, death.
And the pale horse reminds us acutely of the fragility of life. This was powerfully brought home by global health challenges like the COVID-19 pandemic. Human mortality became a central, unavoidable theme, evoking widespread fear and a profound sense of vulnerability. It also speaks to the increasing frequency and intensity of natural disasters.
It's incredible how timeless these images are, almost eerily so.
Yeah.
So why does it matter for us to understand them this way? What's the aha moment here?
The real insight, the aha moment here, isn't that these ancient symbols predict specific future calamities in a literal one-to-one sense. Rather, they act as a timeless psychological and sociological mirror.
A mirror.
Yeah, they reveal the recurring patterns of humanity's self-inflicted wounds, conflicts, and suffering across millennia. The profound insight isn't that they will happen, but that they always do in some form, because human nature and the forces of power, greed, conflict, they remain pretty constant.
That forces us to ask.
Exactly. It forces us to ask, what role do we, individually and collectively, play in perpetuating or breaking these cycles? They serve as a powerful warning to remain vigilant and prompt deep reflection on the moral and spiritual crises within our own societies.
Now, after all that chaos and calamity, Revelation offers a truly profound counter-narrative, doesn't it? A vision of ultimate hope and peace. And that's the New Jerusalem. How does this fit into the broader narrative?
Indeed. The New Jerusalem, described vividly in Revelation 21, stands as a symbol of ultimate hope, restoration, and renewal. It's a stark contrast to the preceding chaos, signifying God's ultimate fulfillment of his promises and a vision of perfect peace and harmony after judgment. It represents not just an endpoint, but the ultimate goal and resolution of all earthly struggles.
What does that vision actually look like? What specific details are we given that inspire such hope?
It's depicted as this radiant city, a dwelling place where God's presence is intimately with humanity. Revelation 21.4 offers this beautiful promise. He will wipe every tear from their eyes. There will be no more death or mourning or crying or pain, for the old order of things has passed away.
Wow.
This imagery paints a profound picture of future hope and ultimate reconciliation, where the very sources of human suffering, death, grief, pain are eradicated, and a true, unblemished community thrives under divine care. It's the ultimate vision of paradise restored, a complete renewal of creation.
And how does this hopeful vision relate to us today amidst all the challenges we've discussed? Does it still have a practical impact? Or is it just, pie in the sky?
Oh, it has a very practical impact for many. This imagery serves as a powerful counter-narrative to despair in our complex world. It's not just a far-off dream. It actively motivates social justice initiatives and inspires collective action for marginalized communities as people strive to bring elements of that ideal city justice, peace, compassion into being today. It symbolizes a deep human longing for a better world, aligning profoundly with environmental movements advocating for sustainability, ecological restoration, harmony with Earth. For many, it's a profound source of comfort and a blueprint for ethical living, proving that even in the face of societal challenges, there is an enduring vision of hope to work towards. 3. Lenses of interpretation. How scholars engage with revelation.
All right, we've covered the core themes and major symbols. Now, this isn't a simple instruction manual, is it? Scholars approach Revelation from many different angles. You mentioned it's like a complex painting.
That's a good way to think about it.
Each interpretive framework is like a different lens, or maybe different lighting, revealing distinct details and themes. What are the primary frameworks they use?
That's an excellent analogy. Scholars indeed employ various interpretive frameworks when analyzing Revelation, leading to really diverse understandings of its relevance. These can broadly be categorized into 4 primary approaches, each offering a unique way to peel back its layers.
Okay, let's start with the first one. How do some scholars view Revelation as primarily a historical document tied to its original time?
Right. The first is the preterist approach. This view sees Revelation as a document primarily addressing first-century Christians facing persecution. So, according to this perspective, many, if not most, of the prophecies and symbols have already been fulfilled in historical events contemporary to the author and original readers.
Already fulfilled.
Yeah.
Okay, so things that happened back then. Can you give us a concrete example of that?
Certainly. Key interpretations under this approach include events like the destruction of Jerusalem in 70 AD by the Romans.
A huge event.
Huge. Also, the intense persecution under Emperor Nero and the Roman Empire itself being seen as the fulfillment of many of Revelation's symbols, like the beast we talked about.
Right, Nero in 666.
Exactly. The beast in Revelation 13 is often interpreted as Nero Caesar via that Hebrew numerology gematria. This view contextualizes the text historically, emphasizing faith and resilience under immediate oppression. It makes Revelation a commentary on their struggles rather than distant future events. It promotes a nuanced understanding of overcoming, as mentioned in Revelation 2.7, as a present imperative for those early believers.
That's a very grounded historical reading, making it directly relevant to its original audience.
Yeah.
What's the next interpretive approach?
Next, we have the historicism approach. This interpretation views Revelation as a continuous roadmap of church history, unfolding from the first century all the way to the present and even potentially into the near future.
A roadmap of history, so it's like a continuous unfolding story through time, with Revelation providing a prophetic commentary on major historical periods and events.
Precisely. Scholars using this approach often correlate specific prophecies and symbols with identifiable historical events. The rise and fall of empires, significant theological shifts like the Reformation, and even developments into the modern era.
Interesting. You mentioned the Reformation.
Yes, this approach was particularly popular and influential among Protestant reformers like Martin Luther and John Calvin. They famously used it to critique the papacy and other institutions of their day, seeing them as fulfilling prophetic warnings within Revelation. It provides a grand narrative of history seen through a specific theological lens.
And then there's the one many listeners probably think of when they hear Revelation, the futurist approach. This is the one that looks forward, isn't it?
Yes, the futurist approach. This core idea interprets Revelation as a prophecy of events yet to unfold, particularly focusing on things like a literal second coming of Christ, maybe a rapture, a period of tribulation, and the eventual establishment of God's earthly kingdom.
So everything is still ahead of us, or perhaps happening right now, in anticipation of the end.
In large part, yes, for this perspective. Key interpretations often link prophetic messages to specific modern political developments, technological advancements, and detailed end-time scenarios. It emphasizes eschatological aspects, that is, the study of the end of things, and prompts believers to focus on readiness for Christ's return and a sense of urgency in evangelism and mission work.
Right, the urgency. But you mentioned challenges with this view.
It does face distinct challenges. It can be overly deterministic, sometimes struggling to account for the complexities of human behavior and societal change. And there's also a significant risk of confirmation bias.
Confirmation bias.
Yeah, where adherents might inadvertently seek to fit current events into a rigid prophetic framework, sometimes leading to sensationalism or, frankly, misinterpretation, seeing connections where maybe none exist.
That makes a lot of sense, the temptation to see what you expect to see. What's the fourth and final framework?
The fourth is the idealist approach, sometimes called the spiritual or symbolic approach. This core idea views Revelation primarily as a symbolic exploration of timeless moral and spiritual truths, universal human experiences, and the ongoing perennial struggle between good and evil, rather than a literal prediction of specific past or future events.
So it's less like a crystal ball predicting specific future headlines and more like a profound psychological drama playing out on a cosmic stage, always relevant because human nature and its struggles remain constant.
Exactly. That's a great way to put it. For idealists, the New Jerusalem, for instance, is seen as a metaphor for God's eternal kingdom, not necessarily a physical location descending from the sky. Good is associated with higher truths and moral values, while evil represents a deviation from this ideal state.
Okay.
It emphasizes moral instruction and transformation, much like, say, Buddha's Eightfold Path or Christ's moral teachings in the Gospels. It focuses on personal spiritual growth and addressing societal issues through ethical principles rather than looking for literal fulfillment in news headlines.
That sounds incredibly relevant for today, offering practical guidance. How does this idealist view connect to contemporary challenges like climate change or social justice movements?
It provides a powerful framework for understanding and addressing contemporary moral dilemmas. For example, climate change can be interpreted through an idealist lens as a profound call for environmental stewardship and responsibility, reflecting humanity's deviation from its role as caretaker of creation.
Okay, a moral failing almost.
Potentially, yes. And social justice movements striving for equality and challenging systemic oppression can be seen as embodying the ongoing struggle against evil and injustice and a pursuit of the higher truths. Revelation symbolizes like justice, righteousness, compassion. It encourages individuals to seek truth, embrace compassion, and actively contribute to the collective good, transforming the world through ethical action now.
These different frameworks really highlight the complexity and richness of Revelation. How does modern scholarship incorporate all of this and continue to evolve our understanding of such an ancient and sometimes difficult text?
That's a great question. Recent scholarly work often incorporates interdisciplinary methods, drawing from diverse lenses beyond traditional theology. Things like feminist criticism, liberation theology perspectives, post-colonial readings.
So bringing new questions to the text.
Exactly. These approaches reveal new layers of meaning, connecting the spiritual conflict described in Revelation to the very real sociopolitical realities and struggles of marginalized communities, highlighting themes of oppression and empowerment in ways maybe earlier interpretations didn't fully grasp.
Interesting.
This ongoing dialogue demonstrates that while there's certainly a lack of complete consensus on interpretation, and maybe there never will be, it fosters a rich and dynamic theological discourse. It ensures the text remains vibrant, critically examined, and profoundly relevant to new generations and contexts. Scholars are continually tasked with unpacking these ancient texts, bridging that gap between historical context and contemporary meaning. 4. Revelation in our world. Contemporary manifestations of prophetic themes.
Let's bring this right up to the minute. We talked about these powerful themes and symbols and the different ways to interpret them, but how do they manifest in our world right now? Are we truly seeing echoes of Armageddon or the Horsemen in current global conflicts? Is that a fair connection to make?
Well, we can certainly draw striking parallels, whether you see them as direct fulfillments or as timeless patterns repeating. Revelation's prophecies, particularly Revelation 6 describing the Red Horsemen of War and Revelation 16 referencing Armageddon, speak of war, violence, and a climactic battle. And sadly, our current geopolitical landscape presents numerous reflections of these themes, often in ways that feel disturbingly familiar.
The war in Ukraine is an obvious, heartbreaking example that comes immediately to mind. It feels very Revelation-esque, if that's a word.
Indeed, the war in Ukraine is a prime example of wars on a scale with significant global consequences. It has ignited humanitarian crises, displaced millions, created profound geopolitical reverberations that ripple across continents. It certainly echoes the rumors of wars as nations worldwide scramble to reassess their defense postures and alliances, preparing for potential escalations, broader tensions between Russia and NATO. This conflict starkly illustrates how one war can profoundly influence global stability, food supplies, energy markets, truly embodying the chaotic reach of that Red Horseman.
And what about other regions? The Taiwan Strait, for instance, has been a source of growing international concern for years. Feels like another rumor of war.
Absolutely. The long-standing contention between China and Taiwan, coupled with increased military drills by China and the U.S. reaffirmation of defense commitments to Taiwan,
Right.
well, it creates an incredibly precarious situation. This carries the very real risk of military confrontation, which would have catastrophic global economic and political impacts, clearly reflecting those rumors of wars that fuel a pervasive sense of impending conflict and anxiety. Similarly, ongoing Middle East conflicts, like the Israeli-Palestinian situation or the Syrian civil war, exemplify complex regional and international involvements, cycles of violence, intractable power struggles, showing the persistent grip of that red horse on human affairs.
It's not just open warfare, though, is it? We're also seeing a rise of authoritarianism and threats to democratic systems in many parts of the world. Does Revelation speak to that?
That's right. The global rise of authoritarian regimes, the erosion of democratic liberties, widespread civil unrest around the world. These can definitely be seen as echoes of the oppressive regimes or beasts and apocalyptic warnings of societal collapse found in Revelation.
So the beast isn't just one entity, but maybe a type of system.
Exactly. These situations often contribute to a perception that humanity is careening toward a crisis reflective of those ancient apocalyptic warnings, where individual freedoms are curtailed and state power becomes absolute and often unjust.
And the media, especially social media, seems to play a huge, almost unsettling role in amplifying these rumors of wars and a general sense of unease.
Yeah.
How does that fit in?
It undeniably does. Global communication systems, particularly social media platforms, significantly contribute to rumors of wars by rapidly spreading misinformation, sensationalized news, speculation, often without proper verification.
Right, it spreads like wildfire.
And algorithms that prioritize engagement above all else further exacerbate this, creating echo chambers and environments ripe for conflict, amplifying societal anxiety. The psychological impact of constant exposure to dire news and unverified claims can lead to widespread desensitization, anxiety, even paranoia, making it difficult to discern truth from manipulation, very much like the deceptions warned against in Revelation.
Moving from conflict to environmental issues. Revelation also has some pretty stark imagery about the natural world being in distress, doesn't it?
Yes, Revelation includes powerful imagery describing environmental destruction and plagues. Things like Revelation 6, talking about cosmic disturbances, the sun turning black, the moon red,
Yeah, scary stuff.
and Revelation 8 and 9 describing ecological upheavals like poisoned waters and scorched earth, and of course, Revelation 6 mentioning pestilence alongside the pale horse. These passages paint a vivid picture of a planet in turmoil.
And these passages feel eerily relevant with our intensifying climate crisis. It's almost as if the warnings are unfolding before our eyes.
They absolutely do feel relevant. Many people interpret the increasing frequency and intensity of natural disasters, those devastating wildfires in Australia, California, powerful hurricanes like Katrina, Harvey, widespread floods, rising sea levels, as fulfilling these prophetic warnings. They directly link them to the profound and accelerating impacts of climate change. This aligns powerfully with Revelation's underlying call for humanity's responsibility in caring for creation, urging a fundamental reevaluation of our values and actions towards the planet. It promotes climate action not just as a scientific imperative, but for many as a moral and spiritual one.
And the recent COVID-19 pandemic, that felt like a very direct global echo of pestilence on a scale few of us had ever witnessed.
Indeed. The COVID-19 pandemic is seen by many as a modern manifestation of pestilence. It brought forth unparalleled fear, uncertainty, isolation, widespread societal breakdown. It definitely evoked themes of tribulation found in Revelation.
Yeah.
As economies faltered, healthcare systems were overwhelmed, communities grappled with widespread death and illness. The global health crisis powerfully brought home our collective vulnerability and the fragility of our interconnected world, mirroring those ancient descriptions of widespread suffering.
So we have wars, environmental disasters, and plagues. But Revelation also warns about moral decay and how that can ironically pave the way for a powerful surveillance society that controls every aspect of life. Tell us about that connection.
This is a crucial and deeply concerning area where ancient warnings meet modern reality. Revelation warns about the consequences of immorality, often represented by the beast as a system promoting moral decay, demanding conformity.
Right.
Contemporary examples are unfortunately abundant. rampant consumerism that prioritizes material gain over human well-being, widespread political corruption, persistent social injustice, alarming wealth disparity, pervasive corporate greed that often exploits both people and resources.
It's a long list.
It is. And the pandemic, in particular, dramatically highlighted existing inequalities in healthcare access, social support systems, drawing stark parallels to the moral failings described in Revelation when societies neglect their most vulnerable.
And then there's Chapter 9 in Revelation.pdf, which specifically talks about the rise of the surveillance society. How does modern technology, like AI, connect to the beast and the mark of the beast symbolism in this context? This feels very current.
What's truly unsettling here is how advancements in digital technologies and AI-powered surveillance tools evoke the symbolism of the beast and the mark of the beast from Revelation 13. We're talking about technologies like sophisticated facial recognition systems,
Everywhere now.
practically, predictive policing systems like Predpol used in the LAPD, which use algorithms to predict where crimes might occur, often leading to disproportionate policing.
Raises huge questions.
Huge questions, and extensive smart city initiatives like those in Singapore, leveraging vast networks of sensors and cameras to monitor and manage urban life. These systems, coupled with pervasive data collection by governments and corporations, create an environment where individuals can be constantly monitored, their movements, even behaviors, tracked and analyzed.
That's pretty chilling.
Yeah.
What are the specific ethical and privacy concerns that these technologies raise, especially when we think about the mark of the beast, not as a literal branding, but as a system of control?
These technologies raise critical ethical and privacy concerns. There's the potential for mass surveillance, where governments and corporations monitor individuals, often without meaningful consent, leading to a chilling effect on dissent and free expression. There's the erosion of civil liberties. The right to privacy becomes severely compromised. And a significant concern is algorithmic bias.
Bias in code.
Exactly. Where AI systems, often trained on biased historical data, can show higher error rates for certain demographics, like people with darker skin tones, leading to concerns about racial profiling, exacerbating existing social injustices. Modern interpretations of the mark of the beast often connect to precisely this. A commentary on consumerism, technological surveillance, the loss of individuality in a world where participation in economic and social life might become increasingly contingent on conformity to these digital systems. We even saw some speculation again, diverging from scholarly consensus around digital health passes or vaccine mandates during the pandemic as symbols of this kind of systemic control.
Yeah, I remember that debate.
The warnings in Revelation, therefore, powerfully encourage vigilance against unchecked power and complicity in unjust systems, reminding us to constantly question who benefits from these advancements and what freedoms they cost.
Wow. That really brings an ancient text into a very modern, almost sci-fi context, highlighting the persistent relevance of its warnings. Finally, amidst all these challenges and fears, are we also seeing any spiritual awakenings or religious fervor that tie into Revelation's themes of hope and transformation? Is there an upside?
Yes, there's definitely a resurgence of interest, you could say. We've seen an increased interest in end times prophecies or eschatology, the study of last things, across various religions, not just Christianity, but Islam, Hinduism too.
Interesting.
This heightened interest is often directly tied to global crises as people seek meaning and a framework for understanding turbulent times. Think about how popular things like the Left Behind book series were.
Oh yeah, huge.
They captivated millions with specific interpretations of biblical prophecies, profoundly shaping beliefs about the rapture and tribulation for a generation.
And what about modern spiritual awakenings outside of traditional religious structures? Are those also drawing on similar themes of profound change?
Absolutely. Modern spiritual awakenings, things like New Age spirituality, the growing ecological awareness movement, various social justice movements, they often focus on themes of personal transformation and a collective shift in consciousness. These movements, while not always explicitly referencing Revelation, align strongly with its themes of radical transformation, enduring trials, and the ultimate triumph of a renewed spiritual reality. They often see current global challenges as catalysts for a profound reevaluation of human values and purpose, leading towards a more enlightened collective future.
So, seeing crisis as opportunity.
In a way, yes. Spiritual communities in particular are often galvanized into action by interpreting current events as prophetic signs, fostering solidarity and leading to activism. For example, framing climate justice as a spiritual imperative.
How does technology influence these spiritual movements and their spread? Does it amplify them? We talked about it amplifying fear. Does it amplify hope, too?
That's a great point. Social media plays a huge role in amplifying these awakenings, too. It allows for the rapid dissemination of interpretations, spiritual teachings, calls to action, intensifying the sense of urgency and creating both vibrant online communities, but also at times echo chambers or platforms for conspiracy theories, so it's a double-edged sword. Historically, though, revivalism, like the First Great Awakening in the 18th century, the Millerite movement in the 19th, various charismatic movements, has always demonstrated a strong link between spiritual revival and apocalyptic expectations, particularly emerging in periods of social upheaval and seeking transformative change. Technology just accelerates and broadens that existing human phenomenon, the search for spiritual meaning and community in turbulent times. The impact on faith and action, living in the shadow of revelation.
So we've explored the profound scope of revelation, from ancient times to our modern world. What's the impact of all this on our faith and how we choose to act today? How can it foster resilience and hope amid such intense warnings? It feels like a balancing act.
It is a balancing act, but at its core, Revelation deeply affirms God's ultimate control over history and the universe. Sovereignty, theologians call it. This offers immense comfort and stability amidst uncertainty, reinforcing the idea that God's plan, one of justice and redemption, will ultimately prevail. For believers, this certainty fosters profound resilience, anchoring them in a larger narrative that transcends immediate difficulties. It's a powerful antidote to despair, reminding them that their efforts, their suffering, are not meaningless in the grand scheme of things.
And it's not just an abstract idea, is it? You mentioned the letters earlier. The book itself gives very direct guidance to those facing challenges.
It does. The letters to the seven churches in Revelation 2 and 3 are direct, personalized exhortations to specific communities back then. They encourage believers to remain steadfast in faith despite persecution, internal compromise, external challenges, promising spiritual rewards for perseverance. This directly encourages modern believers to draw strength from God's active involvement in their lives and to persevere through trials, knowing that their faithfulness has eternal significance. Furthermore, the vision of the faithful united around the throne in Revelation 7, representing every tribe and nation.
Right, a huge crowd.
It powerfully reinforces the importance of community, fostering a deep sense of belonging and mutual support in a world often marked by division and isolation. It reminds us we are part of something larger than ourselves.
It sounds like it's a profound call to action, to a call to ethical living and social justice, not just passive waiting for the end.
Absolutely, that's a critical takeaway. Revelation's theme of divine judgment serves as a powerful call to ethical living now, motivating socially responsible behaviors that reflect divine justice. Many communities interpret the call for justice and the fight against oppression as a divine mandate to actively advocate for marginalized groups.
So faith leads to action.
Ideally, yes. This translates into tangible efforts towards racial equality, economic justice, dedicated environmental stewardship, seeing these actions as integral to living out their faith and embodying the values of the coming new creation. It's about building glimpses of that future kingdom here and now.
What are some practical steps individuals can take to counteract the moral decay Revelation warns about and live more ethically in our complex world? What does that look like day to day?
Well, individual actions rooted in biblical teachings are crucial. This includes active community involvement, volunteering, supporting local initiatives, maybe participating in local governance to advocate for just policies.
Getting involved.
Getting involved. It also demands comprehensive education, emphasizing ethics and critical thinking, helping individuals discern truth from deception in an age of misinformation. Consistent self-reflection through practices like mindfulness, prayer, journaling, that's vital to foster personal accountability and moral clarity. Promoting ethical behavior involves challenging dishonesty when you see it, making ethical consumer choices that support fair labor and sustainable practices, using social media constructively rather than destructively. And, as we touched on, the promise of a new creation in Revelation 21:22 profoundly influences Christian environmentalism, inspiring a deep commitment to protect the planet and work towards a sustainable future, seeing it as a sacred divine mandate.
So Revelation isn't just about what's coming, it's very much about how we live now. How can we spiritually prepare ourselves for these unfolding events, whatever they may be, without succumbing to fear or becoming overwhelmed? That feels key.
Spiritual preparedness involves a multifaceted, intentional approach. Firstly, I'd say a deepened engagement with Scripture is essential. Regular, thoughtful study of Revelation and other biblical texts, ideally within supportive Bible study groups or communities, promotes understanding, helps manage speculation, fosters collective resilience.
Don't just read it alone in fear.
Exactly. Secondly, strengthening one's personal relationship with God through consistent prayer, worship, meditation. That's crucial for gaining clarity, finding inner peace, cultivating hope amidst anxiety. That personal connection provides a spiritual anchor.
Okay.
Thirdly, informed reflection is key. It means staying genuinely informed about global events, environmental, social, economic challenges, but crucially, analyzing them through a theological lens. To understand the potential relevance of prophecies, yes, but more importantly, to manage fears by placing current events within a larger framework of divine purpose and hope.
Perspective.
Perspective, exactly. Finally, maintaining moral integrity by cultivating ethical standards like honesty, humility, charity, and consciously addressing personal shortcomings. That's vital for navigating the moral dilemmas and trials that inevitably come. This holistic approach prepares individuals not just for what might come, but for living righteously, compassionately, and vigilantly in the present moment. Outro.
What an incredible journey we've taken today through the book of Revelation. We've moved far beyond just its daunting imagery, haven't we? Exploring its historical roots, its rich and profound symbolism, the diverse interpretations scholars have applied, and its undeniable relevance for our complex modern world. Far from being just a bizarre or terrifying prophecy, we've seen how this ancient text offers a potent and surprisingly practical lens through which to understand human nature, morality, and our place in the whole cosmic story.
Indeed. Revelation really presents this delicate interplay between stark warnings of judgment and these immense visions of hope. While it certainly alerts us to the dangers of moral neglect, unchecked power, societal decay, its ultimate message, I believe, is one of divine triumph, redemption, and the promise of a renewed creation.
Yeah.
It's not just about what to fear, but what to hope for, and critically, how to act in the present to build a better future.
So what does this all mean for you, our listener? As we navigate a world rife with both profound challenges and incredible opportunities, Revelation invites each of us to engage deeply with our own moral compass. It's a powerful reminder that our individual and collective choices, well, they have profound consequences, not just for today, but for shaping the generations to come.
Consider this final thought. If the vivid imagery of Revelation is a metaphorical mirror reflecting humanity's potential for both destruction and redemption, what reflection do we want to cast for the future?
That's the question. What steps will you take, maybe informed by this deep dive, to embody the hope and justice that Revelation, in its profound and often unsettling way, calls us towards? This deep dive really encourages us to move beyond mere interpretation to active, intentional participation in shaping a more just, compassionate, and resilient world.